Folks, this is me here. Remember I did a video on this, on these RV there yet cars there? Well, that was the previous video. Today we're gonna take a look at a new, vehicle from Hot Wheels called Ain't Fair from, Hot Wheels. This is a very, very cool looking bus. I cannot wait to open this up. And when I saw this for the first time, I was like, oh geez, I have to get this. There's no way I'm gonna let this thing go. And I knew it, I was gonna get it. But the problem though is that I wasn't able to get two of them. I only got one, and this was the last one that they had. But it is very, very cool though, and I cannot wait to open it up. But let's get started. So, as you can see, it is part of the other one was part of the Getaway series. This one is part of the HW Metro, so this does go good with it. So let's open it up and check it out. Okay, so I'm just gonna open it up. There we go. Oh wow, this is a very, very... It's actually quite light, even though it has this chunk of metal on the top. It's kind of light. There's the package there. I don't know what you could do with that. But here's the bus. Oh wow. This is a very, very cool looking bus. It's probably the coolest one I ever seen before. I've seen other things that were cool, but when it comes to Hot Wheels, it's probably the most realistic bus I ever had. Even though it's a little bit futuristic, it's actually very, very realistic. The design of it just looks very realistic, as you can see. It's a metro bus or a transit bus, and it actually has a bike rack, which I find very, very rare. I find it rare because most toy buses like this here, they don't always have bike racks, and it's kind of a bummer. But this, I think, is really, really nice, and to be honest, if you guys like toy buses, I recommend getting this. This is just too cool. And I like, and even though it's not really like it's green, I wouldn't mind, to be honest, because I kind of like the color green anyways. But it's pretty cool though. I actually like it. It kind of like the green color sort of reminds me of like an environmental. It reminds me of like a shuttle bus or something. I don't know, but looks pretty cool. It rolls quite well, even though you may think, how can it roll with its low body? Notice it has the wheel well there. And what's also nice about it is that it has a see-through and an actual interior inside of it. Pretty much all these buses, well, this one sort of had an interior. I don't know, it's hard to see. Does it have it? I don't know, I can't see it. I think this one does, but I find it a little bit rare though. When I had this other one, it does not have an interior. Look at this. Just look at this, folks. It does not have an interior when I shine it. But when I have this one right here, it does, and you can actually see lots of seats there. So as you can see, folks, this bus has some names and things on it, nooks and crannies. I noticed that the wheel was a little bit too high, but it's not ugly or anything. So this bus has a metal roof. Well, actually, only this roof is metal, but this part is plastic. This part is also plastic. This is plastic. Pretty much the entire thing is all plastic, except for this lighter shade of green, which is not plastic. This metallic part, that part is not plastic. It's actually metal. So I did a previous video about this bus, and it was pretty cool. They are starting to also release a different color of it. I believe it appears in white. This one, of course, doesn't have any colors to it. It's just green. But they might eventually release one. I don't really know. But it is cool though. I actually really like it. It has like a CNG tank or something, and this other sort of thing on top. Pretty cool. It almost reminds me of a, it actually has a bike rack, which I find rare, like I said. And this is called Ain't Fair from Hot Wheels. And no, I don't mean fair like... And no, I don't mean fair like F-A-I-R, like the fairground. I mean fair like a ticket fare or like a booth fare. This isn't fair. Why do I have to pay when I get into the bus? That's probably what they meant to say. It actually also has the name there. So that's kind of nice. It's pretty nice for the fact that it's another of those cars with the pun. The other one actually had another pun, but it was actually called Are We There Yet, which actually means Are We There Yet? But this one actually says Ain't Fair, like this isn't fair, or this ain't fair. The other one was like, Are we there yet? Like, are we here yet or something? Something like that, like a slang or like a, what is it called, a pun. So it's kind of nice to have these types of vehicles where they not just look kind of fun to play with or how cool they are. They also have some funny names as well. And I think there's also an Easter egg I noticed is that if you look carefully, it actually says HWDES. CTR, which actually stands for Hot Wheels Design Center, and it actually also says it in the package, but it's easier to see. I believe the Hot Wheels Design Center actually exists in real life, and if it does, that's an Easter egg. So that's a pretty cool Easter egg, that the bus is going to an actual design center. How cool is that if it does exist? So it rolls quite nice. And it actually... And this is why I got this thing. This one is very, very different than this bus here. This bus has a, it's like an environmental... This one is like more modernized. This one is more old-fashionized. This one is like from the 50s or something. This one is like from the 2000s. So it's kind of nice to have an old and new bus to my collection of buses. This one sort of sat low, but it was high enough. So, yeah. Now what's cool about this bus is that this bus looks like a mix between a New Flyer D40LF and a Nova or a Nabby bus back. And the reason why is because some Nabby buses had this thing on the back where it's like a hump or something. The Nova low floor buses had the exact same thing as well. It had this hump there. But like the rest of the body looks like a CNG version of this D40LF, which actually exists. Apparently this is the diesel version. But since this is a D40LF, I'm gonna see if it is the same bus. It's a little bit flattened. Oh, wait a second, it is. That's pretty cool. It does have a small bumper, but it has the typical square, the typical squarish rectangular lights with these little dots that look like humps. They're actually supposed to be some sort of an indicator, I believe. That is pretty cool. So they kind of did almost like a replica of it. I wouldn't say they... Well, of course they didn't copyright everything, but doesn't it look very similar? Even though it's not a licensed model, it actually just looks like a D40LF. See how the D40LF has these two little dots or something? They're not dots, but they're like these indicators that look like ovals or something, but orange. Yeah, right over there. Well, this bus has the exact same thing. Like where my nail is, it has the same thing. Like this hump there. You see where my nail's going over? It has that as well. So they pretty much almost did do, like, they look very similar, almost like a copy, but not quite, though. I wouldn't call this a copy. But it is very, very, like, almost like the same. Except this one is more flattish, like if they flattened it or something, or lowered it. And as far as this CNG tank, I do have a bus that is a CNG, but it's not a D40LF. It's actually an Orion VII bus. Even though it's not the same bus. It does have the same CNG tanks. I think the D40LF has the same CNG tank as this one here. Doesn't this look similar to a CNG tank even though it has some fans on it? Kind of looks very similar to a CNG tank. Right? I think that's what it is. It just looks... when I see something like this, I would say this is more of like a CNG tank. However, I did have another bus that had the similar tank, and maybe I found out, maybe it's not a CNG tank, maybe it's some sort of tank, maybe it's a hybrid electric tank, I don't know. But this looks too, like what do you think, folks? Doesn't it look similar? Except for the color, but does like the shape of it look similar? I think it does. So the rest of the body looks like a New Flyer C40LF, which is a CNG version of a D40LF. So the body of it, the rest of it looks like it's from a New Flyer D40LF with a CNG tank, which sometimes they'll call it a C40LF. But this rear part here, this hump, this other hump, not this one, but this other one, looks like a back of a Nova or a Nabi. I think it's a low floor bus back. Some Nabi buses had this hump here. So that's why I'm kind of mentioning Nabi buses. I think it stands for Napoleon buses. I don't remember what it is. But this back part here reminds me of like a Nabi bus. Some Nabi buses have this hump. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It reminds me of those ones with the hump on it in real life. Well, on the internet. But this can also look similar to a Nova low floor back. Some Nova, well, most of them have this thing on the back where it's like a hump or something. That's what this reminds me of. So this back piece came from either a Nova low floor bus or maybe a Nabi, like maybe one of those Nabis. I'm just gonna say this came from like a Nova low floor bus, like the back of it. So this back here came from a Nova low floor, I would imagine. But the rest of the body came from a New Flyer C40LF, which is a D40LF, but with a CNG tank. If you Google the two of them and you try to compare it with this model, it just looks very similar, like mixed up together. But there you go, folks. It also has, of course, the difference is that they decided to put the thing here. Usually most buses have it here. But they decide to put the door hinge here, which actually doesn't do anything. It's the same, well, they put this in the middle, though. This actually is see-through, but it's not see-through enough. Like, it's kind of blurry, but you can sort of see something inside, which is the interior. It's hard to see, but there are some seats on the wheel well, and I think there's more of them in the back as well. It's hard to see. But all of them, like pretty much all of them, you can see from here. And actually, it almost does have it as well, because I found out that the New Flyer D40LF has like 3 windows over here. This one has the same thing as well. So I wonder if it's like a copy or not or something. And they also had this, what is it called? The window, the doors look very similar as well. So that's pretty cool. Overall, I would actually give this bus a 10 out of 10, or like an A+ if it was for rating. This is probably the coolest bus I ever had in my entire life ever. And it's pretty nice. I actually, if you guys love buses and you love Hot Wheels, or if you just love buses, like just buses, you don't like Hot Wheels, but you just love the buses, I recommend getting this. This is just the coolest, this is like the coolest bus they had ever made for like a long time, especially in the 2000s. And it's also nice if you also want it with a bike rack, that it comes with bike racks. If you want, you can try to get more of these and probably have like a fleet of them. Maybe you can make different numbers or something. You can pretty much do whatever you want with this bus. I think it's very, very cool. I'm not going to customize it, but I will try to get 2 of these apparently. It's actually, for me, it looks way better than the other Surfin' bus, but I still like the Surfin' bus though. I have to say, this bus is probably the coolest bus ever. But anyways, goodbye folks, and have a happy, have a good day, and yeah, I'll do more videos eventually coming up. Goodbye. Beep, 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 beep. This isn't fair. Why do I have to, blooper. I actually did that blooper on purpose. Just kidding. I don't know. Just being silly. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. This bus will go to the destination the design center. Goodbye. Beep beep. Pew.